Learning success with women as well as social circle over the last 10 years has transformed my life. From being someone that couldn't do anything, had no control over his dating life, had no control over making friends and was picked on and bullied, to someone that travels around the world, is able to attract any girl in any city, connect with some very, very high level people. I thought, why not give back with a free course and teach you in the next 55 minutes everything that I've learned in the last 10 years and everything that I teach my students in social life mentoring. Let's get into this free course, how exactly you're going to get the social circle you want, as well as attract the types of women that you want in your life. Right now, to understand, we probably don't have the social circle we want. We're not attracting the girls we want. So we have an understanding that what we have been doing, so let's just say 2024, what we've been doing has not been working. And so we have to change a bit of our behavior to get different results. Understanding funnels. You might not have ever heard this terminology before, but we're going to understand funnels. So I'm going to draw a funnel right here. So hypothetically, a funnel is just an upside down triangle. That's all it is. So as you can see, let me put it in hectically so hopefully you can see it. It's just basically an upside down triangle. And pretty much when water flows, let's just say if I've got some water, my water's over there, it would trickle down the funnel and it would come out the bottom. That kind of looks like a lady with like two legs. But yeah, it comes out the bottom. As oh Jesus, I'm breaking everything right now. So you understand that this is what a funnel is. Now, a funnel is going to be interesting. So back in the day, what they usually used to talk about was, I'm talking 2015, which was the only funnel that you had to improve your dating life if you weren't classically handsome or classically rich, was that you started to do cold approach. Now, cold approach was the idea that you wanted to start to handle your dating life by going up to strangers in the street and talking to them. Now, you probably thought, oh, there is no, like, why would that happen? But the funny thing was, you actually got a lot better and you got very, very good. And you went out and you talked to a lot of people. And so the idea, the very first funnel that you're going to be understanding is that you can take back your dating life just with cold approach. Now, it's not the only way, but we're going to take this as a funnel. So you would meet people in the street, you meet them in a nightclub, you go out and you talk to them. And some would like you, some would like you, some would get Instagrams, or back in the day we didn't really have Instagram, it was like Snapchat back in the day, or it would be just like a phone number, you know, for us unks out here, so us oldies. And from there, we then would you know, text them and we would go on dates with them, and from there, you know, so forth and so. And the next thing that happened was I came to the understanding, and this is my first thing, is that they used to say that that was the only thing that you could do, because that's all we really knew, right? So that was the only thing we could do. That's the only thing. So it was like cold approach, right? That was the only thing that we knew. And so what that would be is you would get, you know, like a funnel, you would pour, oh, this bloody thing is terrible. You would approach a lot of girls. So a lot of girls would come in, so you talk to them. And so the first layer of your funnel, a lot would come in and say like 10 would be here, and then 5 would be here, and then the next layer, 1 might be a potential, you know, date, right? That might be the girl that you date. Super cool. That's amazing. Now, as we go on, when they used to say that that was the only thing that we could do, I was getting a little bit frustrated. I was like, come on guys, like, there's got to be some other ways. And I'm always a guy, what got me into cold approach was the idea that there was something that I could control. It was outside the box. Not a lot of people did it. And so the idea was, because I had that curiosity, it also led me to, when everyone said that was the only thing to do, it also led me to the curiosity of like, there's got to be more things to do. There's got to be more things. And so the understanding was, all right, I understood this funnel. What other things could I do that could not only improve my dating life, but could improve my connections as well? And then we stumbled across this idea called social circle. And so the idea of social circle was that what I understood was that if you improved your reputation, if you connected with a lot of people, they would invite you to events, you would host your own events, and from there, because you're now getting access to a lot more high quality people, you're getting invited to events, you're hosting events, you're connecting people with each other, that through the art of doing that, going up, like connecting people on Instagram and building out your Instagram, you would get access to the highest quality girls. Now, the reason why that was after a while, the beautiful girls wouldn't walk on the streets because, all these guys were cold approaching them. So they would segment themselves away to different areas behind promoters' booths. They would, go to only exclusive parties, exclusive events, and they wouldn't just go to the regular nightclub anymore because they were getting hit on all the time, which is a hot girl. The hot girl always does get hit on. And so one of the things was the idea about that was because we understood that a girl, from age 18 to 26 would get approached, thousands of times, if she's very, very attractive, even more, that one of the ways to get the most high quality girls was through social circle, which is like friend groups of friend groups, getting invited to all these cool things, birthday parties, events, fashion shows, red carpets, all these cool things, because that's where the models were, that was the highest quality girls, that's where the Instagram girls were. And so we understood that. So that was one of the other funnels. So we kind of started to develop an idea that, I was learning and I was evolving, and I understood that exactly like cold approach, the more people I got into my social circle, the more people I connected with, the more cool events I went to, as well as the people that really I connected with were really, really tight. So going back here, so social circle, what I would do is this idea of funnels, I would go to a lot of places, meet a lot of people, just like a funnel, and the more people are there, I would kind of, take them from, say, strangers. These people were strangers. I'd meet them, I'd go interact with them, and then they would turn into like acquaintances or people that that's as much of acquaintance as I can spell, AQU. And then I realized, cool, when I had a better Instagram, they followed me back more. When I talked to girls on, in different areas in the nightclub, and when I went to maybe the spa, when I went to different areas, and maybe it was a place I was living, maybe it was the post office, maybe it was Whole Foods, maybe it was Air One, maybe it was a health food store, and I'd go talk to these girls because I had the experience of cold approach. I then would invite them to events that I was hosting and events that I was going to. And what do you know? When I would bring a lot of girls to events that other people invited me to, amazing, they would love me. I also would was host my own events, my own little events, and I'd bring girls to there. And then from there, I look like a really, really cool dude. And so I realized that the way that I was doing this was one of the big things that I understood was this idea of collecting leads and lead acquisition. So the funnel, went like I had a cool event that I would invite them to. From there, we would hang out, and then that's how I was getting a lot of like dates from here. Because I'd meet them in different places, like different place, maybe a spa, maybe a gym, maybe a health food store, maybe a friend introduced me, maybe I ran into her, so on and so forth. And so I was like, okay, well, that's a really, really cool funnel where I can just live my daily life. It's not like cold approach where I had to go out and do 5-6 hours. And that was the next evolution of going, okay, well, there are ways that I can meet these girls and connect them to different events. I can bring them to different events. I can kind of funnel them down to where I can date them. And this was such a really unique perspective that I understood, like, wow. So you're saying all I have to do is like host some events, connect some girls, have a cool Instagram, which is the next thing we're covering. And then from there, I have an epic dating life, and cold approach is just a bonus on top. And I was like, so this was 2 funnels that I had. So this was 1 funnel, which was cold approach, and 2 funnels, which is social circle. So I understood, all right, that was a cool funnel. So I'm doubling the amount of people that I'm meeting. And I forgot to tell you that in social circle, your reputation is a lot better, because instead of cold approach, you're getting rejected and people are like, this guy's just talking to a bunch of girls. In social circle, you're being the guy that's bringing the girls, you're cool with the girls, you're not hectically like flirting with them, you're just having a good time, you're at cool places. And from there, you don't have to game too much because you're already in these cool scenarios. You can just be yourself and be normal. And I thought, my reputation's improving. I was like, that's a really, really cool funnel to have as well. The next funnel that I built was, we understood that a key component to this whole, building out my life, building out different funnels was social media. And specifically, it was Instagram. Because Instagram was the platform, so social media. So Instagram was the platform that had all the status. So back in the day, you had your blue check mark. There was, like a big thing that you had to have a lot of followers, and now not so much, but back in the day it did. So that's where, if you're wondering why Instagram is the status place, it's because it has a lot of history of being very status driven. So from there, I understood that, all right, well, what's a really cool thing that I can do is start to get my Instagram on point. And one of those ways was start taking a lot of content and start taking more high quality content. And so I understood that, okay, so this social media requires me to take some photos, requires me to kind of build out my lifestyle, start taking, maybe model style photos and start to get better and better at photography and start to be able to put myself in positions where photographers are there and I can get some photos taken of me. And I was like, okay, well, that's a good funnel. That's a social media funnel right here. A really, really cool social media funnel. And from there, we understood two different things. It actually goes into the next funnel. But I can kind of show off my lifestyle. And what we realized is that people started to develop a thing called a parasocial relationship. And what that means is when they see you online, they feel like they know you. And then we understood this other concept. I understood this other concept, which was called Dunbar's number. And it was the idea of 150 people we're able to keep inside of our head. And so the more I showed off my lifestyle, and I added girls through social circle, cold approach, going out and just living my life, they would come and they would start to watch my content online. So I had some good photos starting to develop. I would take some stories started to happen when Instagram took it from Snapchat. And when I started to do that, I could show off my lifestyle and show off proof that I was a really cool guy. Girls would be watching from here. So let me see if I can draw some eyes here. Some eye. There you go. There's some eyes. I don't know what. I'll draw something. It's going to look like a penis in a second. I thought I better not for YouTube. They might demonetize me. And so you kind of had the idea. I can't believe I just made that joke. You kind of had the idea that girls were watching, and then they would start to be curious about, like who is this guy? And when I would see them next, they would be a little bit more approachable and a little bit more engaged and curious and asking me questions. And I realized it was because I was posting my lifestyle. I was starting to get some followers, I was starting to get some good photos and my lifestyle. And from there, I could just text them and invite them out to different places. I could invite them out to social circle events, or I could ask them and then just ask them out on a date. So this is when I realized, okay, so now I have 3 funnels. Back in the day, no one said that these could be possible. Everyone's like, oh, I don't know how to improve my dating life. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to kind of build out this dating life for me. And then I was like, wow, so I have the cold approach where I go up and talk to the girls. I have the social circle where I start to research events. I go to events. If I have to start off fresh, I go onto Eventbrite. I have a look at events. I go on to different places. I just go to them because once you're in the scene, everybody knows who you are. I can bring some girls so I can add some value. I can bring some cool guys. Maybe we'll be able to connect. And from there, if I add it on social media, that's another funnel which people are, 24 hours a day, they can just view my account all of the time. I can connect with them. I can keep in contact with them. I don't even have to text girls anymore. I can just say, hey, add me on Instagram. It's another follower for me, as well as I can, while I'm texting them, my profile's right there. So if they ever forget what I look like or ever forget how cool I am, they can look at my story. I was like, wow, this is fantastic. And then a side bonus to that, so it was like another plus, which was really cool. A plus was that I started to meet cool guys. And I started to be able to have better connections and better quality friends. And they started to help me with my money, and they started to help me with my kind of outlook on life and experiences, and invite me to cool places, because the more people you know, the more people want you there if you're very close to them. And so I was like, wow, cool guys. Be able to connect with like-minded friends and be able to share and have experiences all from this. I was like, yo, this is really cool. This is fantastic. And then I realized, like, hang on, there's even another funnel that we have. And so I was like, okay, well, we have another funnel because I'm showing off my lifestyle. I'm showing off that I'm a cool guy. I'm showing off that, I might have some money. I'm going to cool events. And even if you're not, you can start the process. So I was like, okay, well, what's this other one from here? And then I realized because I had cool photos, right? Cool photos, that if I linked them to here, I started to get more leads. Now, see if you can guess what I'm talking about, which is dating apps. Now, they always said that dating apps were required you to have good photos. I got good photos for my Instagram, and I was like, hang on, we can put them into the dating apps. And what do you know? Girls started to message more. Girls started to be more receptive. Girls wanted to go on dates. Girls would be asking me out on dates. And I was like, wow, this is another funnel. And so I'm saying, like, hang on, like a lot of these bleed into each other. And a lot of these, it's kind of like a life cycle. You do this, you get some photos, it improves your dating app. You get some photos, girls are being more receptive. You get some photos, it requires you to go out and do stuff. So you go do, so you've got a purpose to go out. You go to these events, you meet some people, you're talking to them, because then it's always helpful for you to be able to go to cool events, to have people to go with. I was like, wow. And so this is where the idea, which is number one. So the first one that we talked about right here, and hopefully you're with us, you're not too bored or asleep or clicked off. Come on, guys, this is some crazy shit right here, 10 years of experience. So number one we looked at, which was funnels, right? And then under that, I learned this concept, which was, so we go here, I'm just which is called a flywheel. And we understood, so when after 10 years of experience, I understood that what you have to do in life is build a flywheel. A flywheel. So what that means is that you want your efforts to be compounding, and this is why Social Circle was very good. So in cold approach, it was like, oh, there's the pretty girl. Okay, I got to go up and talk to her. Like, yeah, hi, da, 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 da. And then you could get a number. Maybe you get rejected. Maybe she doesn't care. Maybe she's got a boyfriend. Who knows? I'm learning Spanish, so it's like tienes novo, and they'd be like, do you have a boyfriend? She's like, yeah. Oh, damn. Okay, next one. So you've just done that. But then I realized, okay, well, as I'm getting older, as I'm getting more wiser, I can't be going out to the nightclub 7 nights a week, and I really have to double down on making finances. I had some issues in my life and I really needed to handle that. I needed to leverage my time. And if you're a person, a high level achiever, you want to handle a lot of areas in your life. Finances, lifestyle, fitness, girls, connections. And so you realize, okay, well, I can't just be spending 7 hours a day, all day, every day. And that was my epiphany. And I thought, okay, And then I understood, okay, going to events, it puts you in high status positions, less people reject you, you got some cool content, girls follow you on social media. It might be the girls that you meet from cold approach, it might be the girls you meet from social, being in these events, you go up and talk to people. You're not a weirdo, just sits in the corner. You actually go up and talk to people, and then it goes, okay. And then from there, we get some good photos, and that gets in the dating app, and then it's like, oh, so you're meaning there's only a couple of things that I have to do to create this momentum in my social and dating life. And as a bonus, I get to hang out with cool guys. As a bonus, there's beautiful girls there. I get to experience the world. I feel like I'm progressing. Might be able to learn some information that helps my finances. And so I was like, okay, well, it's kind of like this idea that they set a spinning plates. You got to spin your fitness, your girls, your money, your mindset, like all these different things. And sometimes, they get a bit wobbly, and so you have to put some work into it. But if there's a couple of different avenues that I can just put some dedicated time to, I can build out this flywheel. And so what you have to do is really understand, okay, well, what is my flywheel? You have a flywheel right now. It might be broken. You might not even be using any of the funnels that we said. And there's a couple more, but I think that's enough for you to kind of understand the flywheel theory. It's a couple more in depth. But the flywheel theory is just as we said. And so you might be having a look and your flywheel might look like this, right? And it's going nowhere. It's broken. Start up here and it's going nowhere. And so you're like, that's not much a flywheel. I'm putting a bit of energy here. I'm putting more energy here. I'm putting energy here, and nothing is really, building that momentum. Nothing is progressing me forward. Nothing is helping me out. Like my efforts are not compounding. They're just, the guy that's addicted to cold approach is just, his efforts aren't compounding. Every day he has to start from scratch where, when you put effort into social circle, it is going to compound. It's like a snowball effect. It like builds up, builds up, builds up. When you put effort into your Instagram, it becomes easier to be able to connect with cool guys. They find you to be able to connect with amazing girls because when you add them, they can add you back. They actually look at your lifestyle and are like, oh my God, this guy's amazing. Right, so when I realized, I was like, okay, there's singular efforts that I can put in that actually help my life, that blew my mind. Understanding funnels and then understanding the flywheel. Wow. If your mind's not blown right now, phew, it should be. So now the next thing that we're going to go into, which was a theory that became very, very popular, and it's more the social circle, because you're like, Sam, this is really, really cool, but I might not have the friends that I want. I might not have, anybody. And that, if that you have nobody, that sucks, obviously starting. But if, I've done a whole video that you can link up here where I had nobody and I had to leverage, anything that I had in Los Angeles, and I built a social circle from scratch in 30 days. But here, I'm going to tell you the next epiphany. And so it's basically the 3 F's that we've found: funnels, flywheels, and familiar faces. Okay, so the next concept is called the familiar face theory, something that I brought to the world, the familiar face, and then theory. Okay. I hope that's how you spell theory. I think it is. And so it was the idea, no Siri, I'm not talking to you. It was the idea that I kind of understood, and I'm going to make this as simple as possible for you. The familiar face theory was this idea that my dad actually instilled in me. And it was this idea, I think he was talking about when he would work at a bar, people would come in, and at start, everyone's a bit of a stranger, but after a while, you sort of saw them, and then you got a little bit closer with them. And then they went from a stranger to an acquaintance, and then they came in a little bit more, an acquaintance to friend. They got to know each other, and then they might have seen each other outside, and they became genuine friends. And it was called the familiar face theory. And whether you like it or not, you're starting this familiar face theory. But I ask a lot of guys that come into social life mentoring. I'm like, okay, well, do you know, where is some place you go? And they're like, I go to the gym a lot. I'm like, okay, so how many people do you know at the gym? And majority of the answer is like, no one. I don't know anyone at the gym. I put my headphones in and I don't talk to anyone. I don't associate with anyone. And I'm like, so you're basically stopping the familiar face theory. Even if you went in, the idea is that when you start to go to places often, you become, and other people you see, become less of a threat. So you've seen them, you know how they act, you don't see them as a threat, and you start to become comfortable, and you can talk and you can act normally. And if you're ever with that girl and you struggle to talk to her, sometimes you think that she's judging you, sometimes you think that she thinks you're a threat, and so you don't want to say the wrong thing, and you get so uptight and so overthinking that the words can't come out of your mouth. But when you start to relax with people and you've been around them, you know how they act, you know how they do things, you start to relax and your authentic personality comes out. And so when I understood this, and I started to build this in my life where I was like, okay, well, what are the places that I frequent most? So let's say I go to the gym, and I work from home, and that's it. Well, I'm like, well, golly, that's gone. I already know everybody at work. Maybe the postman might come, maybe the Uber Eats delivery driver, but I don't know them. So they're out. So it's the gym, and I wear headphones, at the gym. Looks like even. So I don't talk to anyone. So I realized, okay, I was like, all right, let me start to incorporate different areas in my life. So I'm going to go to the gym. I'm not going to wear headphones. which is the first thing. Secondly, I'm going to go to a nightclub every so often, or maybe I'm going to go to a particular restaurant. I'm going to work at a particular, coffee shop or cafe. I'm going to go to a hotel here. I'm going to go frequent this spa retreat here, or I'm going to go frequent, it could be this paintball gun center. It could be anything. I'm going to go to the library here, or whatever it is, right? Whatever you're doing, but there's a lot of places. So that's number one. So you're going to pick a lot of places. Now we call it the 3-3-3 theory because it's the idea that I came up with, which is 3 nightclubs, 3 restaurants, 3 cafes. Find those spots, and then when you're at these spots, so let's just say you add spas and you add shit you're interested in, all right? Stuff you're interested in. So you add all these different things. What you're going to do is then you're going to build out your social list. So you go on your notes on your phone and you type in social list, and every spot you go to, you are going to introduce yourself to people. And the way you introduce yourself is this. I'm sorry I didn't get your name last time. What was your name again? That's one way. Hey, excuse me, I came in last time and I didn't get your name. What was your name again? Even if you haven't been in there or not, they don't remember. They've got so many people coming in. Even if they say, oh, you haven't come in before. No, I came in again. Be like, hey, I didn't get your name. What was your name again? And then what you do is you write down the name, okay? So the idea of someone going from a stranger to an acquaintance is someone that you're not really too friendly with, is that you know the person's name. I didn't get your name. What was your name again? Sarah. Nice to meet you, Sarah. My name is Sam. And then you write that down wherever, spot you're at here. And from there, you then go and say, next time, hey, Sarah. Oh, good to see you again, Sarah. Or there might be another person. Hey, I didn't get your name. What was your name? John. Nice to meet you, John. Hey, Sarah, how are you doing today? And so you start to become a local. And that's what you want in all these places, because this is where you can get celebrity treatment. And this is where you can actually start to befriend these people. Now, you might be saying, oh, I don't want a barista as a friend. I don't want this. Heck, you want people at all levels of friendship. You want people above you that you can be friends with at your level, and then even people below you that we don't like to use the word below you, but let's just say someone that, like a barista, you're like, I don't know if I'm going to get any value. And you're like, well, I can exactly tell you how you can get some value. Let's just say, you're like, how am I going to get some value or becoming friends with a barista? Okay, so Sarah here is the barista, and she knows you, and she's like, hi, Sam, how you doing? Now you bring a lovely date into the coffee shop or to the restaurant, wherever Sarah works, right? And then you bring a date, you and your date are here, arm in arm or whatever, arm in arm. And Sarah goes, hi, Sam, how you doing? Good to see you again. And the girl next to you goes, huh? And then the next person, John, Sam, how you doing, brother? It reminds me, if you've ever watched the movie Legend with Tom Hardy, he plays both characters. But Tom is a character, the Cray brothers, it's about, I think it's either Reggie Cray or the other one. He owns the bar. And when he comes in, he's with a girl, and every single person knows him. And she is in awe about who is this guy? So just by knowing Sarah, or just by knowing a couple of people at the bar or the restaurant or the rooftop lounge or the coffee shop or the restaurant, you now have this celebrity status here. And then you can start to bring people back. Now, one of my big ways was, I was like, let me see if I can double this. So instead of the coffee shop, what I would do is I'd go to the nightclub, because, lots of people would go there. I could meet a lot of people, meet more people. And from there, I'd have this kind of status here because everybody would know me. Now, that was my play. That doesn't have to be your play. Imagine if everybody knows you at the gym and these new people are coming in the gym and everyone's like, your name's Johnny, and everyone around is like, the girls are going to be like, who's Johnny? Johnny seems to be the coolest person here. And so it's this idea of the familiar face theory is you don't go around your scenario, don't go around your environments without knowing people, because you don't know what it looks like to other people. You can get things from them, and it's so much easier to impress people when other people know you. And so I made this idea, I'd go there, I'd go to these places and I'd meet people. And then what I'd know is like I'd know Sarah or know John or whatever. And then they would start to introduce me to people. They would start to give me special access. Whenever I'd bring in there, they'd help me out. And it would make me look $1 million to anyone I was with. And if I got introduced, I'm building new connections, whether it's guys or girls. And I realized it was just a simple thing of getting people's names, asking some genuine question, having a laugh with them because they're in work brain and they want to have a laugh. And then I realized, oh, the 3 F's, funnel, you got the familiar face theory, and flywheel. And all of this can be done where you're starting to build your lifestyle. And, the cool thing is, when you know a couple of things and they give you a bit of special treatment, you can put that on your Instagram story and look good to everybody else as well. And so what it kind of worked out was the life funnel that we built for ourselves in the different levels came down to a couple of different areas. It came down to talking to lots of people. So if you currently don't, have a look at your leads. You're probably your top of funnel here. The top is, let's just say you met 0 people, right? And so when you're middle of funnel, you're going to try to host an event or something. Well, you haven't really met anybody. So you're going to be, 0 people. And your bottom of funnel, which is dates, is going to be 0 people. So you're like, okay, well, that's a simple equation that we can say. That's very, very simple. So let's just change that. Let's say if, I want to host an event, I want to get to know people, or there might be an event I want to go to, and I, talk to seven people, let's just say 7 girls. You want to take this girl to an event, and 2 of them, are interested, and then 1 of them comes on the date. Well, that's not a failure right there. You got 1 person more than you would if you sat on your ass and did nothing and played Fortnite. So, it really comes down to, it's like, all right, well, if you want the lifestyle that everyone portrays, you've got to start to put the effort in. Now, that's just one of them. Let's just say, that's like a bit of cold approach, and that's a bit of like talking to people. Now, let's just say we scrap that, and the next thing we do is top of funnel, we might post some Instagram content, some IG content, some girls, hard eye. Let's see if I can, no. Can I? In the hard eye. The thing that's terrible with the nose. And then you start to message like 2 of them, and then 1 of them, and you ask 1 of them on a date. Perfect. Now we got some Instagram content. Some girls reacted to that. Amazing. Now, let's say we do some research. We got some cool events, and then we start to invite 10 people to this event. 5 people say yes. 3 people come. Boom. We now have 3 people that, because we're doing these actions, we are starting to build out our lifestyle. All right. So everyone I know in the comments is going to be like, this is great, but this sounds like it's when you've already built it. So we're going to start from absolute bare 1. And so when you're doing bare 1, the positions you want is start to choose your 3 spots that you're going to go to. Right? You're going to talk to a lot of people. You're going to add people on Instagram. Hopefully you've built out your Instagram. If you haven't, start working on that. From there, here's the thing. You can invite some girls on some dates so you get to know them, or you can invite them to an event that you're hosting, or event. Now, if you don't host an event, you could actually research an event and start to invite people there. Every major city around the world has events. And it's about you actually, doing that. Now, some of these strategies are a little bit easier than others. Some of them require a little bit more effort. But if you're starting from scratch, like ground 1, it doesn't matter what you do. You're going to have to put some effort in either way. Okay, so we've done funnel, we've done flywheel, we've done familiar face theory. These are the 3 big concepts that changed me in the last 10 years. And you might be thinking they might seem simple to you, but we had to develop these. I had to develop these over the times. And so when I understood, I was like, okay, well, different little funnels for my life. Different funnels. I put some time and energy into, obviously, like photos are going to help. Photos, researching and keeping up to date with any events that are going on. Talking, you could be like swiping on Tinder, swiping on Bumble for some girls. It could be adding some girls on Instagram, Insta. It could be talking to girls, talking to girls in the daytime. Now, from here, these funnels that you've built, these are like you're starting to get a lot of leads through. Now we just have to nurture them. That's all it is. And when I say the events, that's where the nurturing is. You can do a couple of different things. When we've got the events, we can nurture them with, all right, I could ask a lot of girls on dates, and that can be cool. I can ask girls to come to events, so I could ask them on dates. And that's cool. I could ask them to come to events that I have. And if you don't know how to get to events, literally look up Eventbrite, and there's hundreds of events in your city. Right? There's that, which is cool. Maybe you and your buddy can go like on a double date. He brings a girl, you bring a girl, double Ds. There you go. Funny ass. Double Ds. And so there are a couple of ways how you can nurture that funnel. Now, this is just with girls. With other guys that you meet, this is where it's super cool. You can invite them to, the guys that you're meeting, invite them to different events that you're going to as well. Hey, my buddy's got this, or my buddy's got that. Or you're hosting an event. Hey, we're hosting this cool thing. Because, for a guy that you're meeting, it's just a win-win. He just wants to be, for guy friendships to happen, it's pretty much like, if me knowing you, is it a benefit to my life? Because I could do 1,000 different things. I could have 1,000 different friends, but is it a benefit? And if it is a benefit to them, that is really, really good. If it's not a benefit to them, they're not going to be friends with you. So you just want to make it as easy for them as possible to say, yeah, like this, knowing this guy is really, really cool. So you can invite them to cool events. You might be a guy that has lots of girls and get them girls, or teach them things, or teach them about how to get girls. It could be teach them about finances. Could be, and this is where you have to build yourself up as a man, have a lot of capabilities, so that when you're interacting with people, they know, wow, this guy is special. He knows a lot of stuff. He's interested in teaching me. And it can be something that is a mutual benefit. He can show me this, and I can show him this. And it's a win-win for the both of us. Perfect. That's what you want. Okay? Now, another thing too that can help you in this situation, and most of you probably are, but if you are if you do own a business, or you're an entrepreneur, this can helpful, because a lot of the guys that you're gonna meet are guys that you're either gonna hire for your business. See, the majority of friends that I know, they're either like clients of mine in SLM. They're people that have hired out to help me with SLM. A lot of the time, you're going to find people just through business. And what that really is that you have a common interest, which is to make money, to enjoy yourself. So this is one thing that I do recommend if you want to get to know and connect to a lot of people, be part of a cool social networks. It's either pay for mentorships, for communities, as well as starting a business or any sort of entrepreneurial journey. You'll find you'll be in Discords, you'll find you'll be connected to group chats, you'll have groups that you'll be able to join, and all these other people around the world, it might not be in your city, but other cities, they will be on the same mission as you. And now you have a very good commonality because you're both going through an experience together. And so that's one of the ways that a lot of people forget that this is a really, really good scenario for you to be in. Back in the day, we got given friends. In high school, university, and work, you get given friends. You are placed in the same spot for 8 hours a day. You are experiencing, Mr. Johnson, what an asshole. Yeah, he's such an ass. You're building commonalities because you're going through some trauma together in Mr. Johnson's maths class. And in work, you're always, like the boss, everyone has the same boss, and so they're all bitching about the boss. And so you all be able to be connected. But as soon as you're out of that, and as soon as you might not be in the correct scenario, might be in a workplace where everybody's older, you're like, how do I make friends? And it comes down to the idea that you got to learn the top of funnel, middle of funnel, bottom of funnel, where you're actually starting to build connections. Like, where do you find them? How do you initiate conversations? Where are you, like, how are you inviting them? And one thing is, events. We talk about it, one of the life cycles of a friendship goes like this, which is, you got to know their name. That's a thing. Name, some commonalities, double M, commonalities, some commonalities, and what that is, like, you had a dog, I had a dog, you went to this school, I went to this school. And then one of the things is, like, that friendship is geographically located, geolocated. So what you have to do is invite them out to somewhere that's not, like, let's say you met in the gym, they're just going to be a gym buddy, right? But as soon as you invite them out to something outside of the gym, they become a friend from here. And that's what a lot of people don't do. They make a friend, and then all they do is they see that friend at that spot, and then they just become the nightclub friend. They just become the gym friend. They just become the work friend, and they don't know how to continue it. It's because you're not inviting them. It's stuck in a geographically located place, and if you see them out and about, that's when the deeper bond happens. Attraction's funny, man. You can be as big and strong as you want, but if you don't know how to talk to girls, you don't know how to talk to girls. You know how to talk to girls, but you're overweight and you're fat, it's going to hamper you. It's one of the big things is that you need to be a very capable man and have everything in your life very dialed in. You can't be the slob. You can't be the guy. It doesn't mean you have to have all of this dialed in to be able to get girls, but at least on the pursuit of dialing this in. I see a lot of guys and they're just slobs, man. They just don't do anything, and it's really hampering them. And so they don't go to the gym. They don't improve their style. They have no Instagram, right? They don't talk to girls. What's some other things, like they lie around all day. They have, like, no money. They're just nothing, and they expect girls to be able to be attracted to them when there's nothing there. And so what it came down to was the understanding of, like, I wanted to be pretty much superhuman. I wanted to be the guy that could be there. I'm 5'7" naturally, and so I just don't have an opportunity. I don't have a chance, sorry, not an opportunity. I don't have a chance of competing with the guys unless I am having everything dialed in. I have my money dialed in. I have the way I speak dialed in. I have the way I dress dialed in. The way I act dialed in. The fitness that I dialed in. The muscles. And because I'm competing with Brad, that's 6'2", that's the quarterback that just naturally has that, doesn't have to train, doesn't have to do anything. But in the long run, I'm going to win because I'm really doubling down, where most people that are naturals, they don't really double down on what makes them excellent. So the natural and a couple of other guys, they understand the funnels where girls are coming in, how they get converted to going on dates with them, and then learning that process. Where some of the guys, even in the pickup industry, they just focus on the one conversation. Like, cold approach is the only thing to do. It's like, no, there's lots of different ways to do this. It's like a lot of different ways to cook a steak, and so you have to understand what works for you and what funnel you really like, and then build a flywheel to that. Because at the end of the day, this is something important. There's something that this can be handled. Again, back in the day, I didn't know if I could handle it. And then that thought really went when I understood that if you put a very strong effort into changing something, it can change reality at will. And one of the things was I was able to change reality at will. So this can be changed. Now, you don't have to start with cold approach. You don't have to start with social circle. You don't have to start with online dating or whatever it is, but at least start. Because if you're not starting now, it's not going to happen next year. It's not going to happen the year after. No one's going to start it for you. And that's a big thing. No one's going to start it for you. You're the only one. Your mum's not going to start your dating life for you. Your dad's not going to start your dating life for you. No one's going to start it except for you. And so if you're not doing that, then you're going to be left behind. You're not doing that. You're not learning to level these areas up. You're going to be left behind. You're going to be upset. You're going to be sad. You're going to be someone that kind of hates life. And that's how people get in the black pill and shit like that. It's like, well, what do you think? What do you think happened when you didn't do anything? What do you think was going to happen? What, do you think it was just magically like a fairy dust with a wand? Oh yeah, alakazam. And then, oh yeah, it's here. It's like, no, this is something that a lot of people want and a lot of people go after with like a man with 10 arms because they know how important it is and they know that no one's going to just hand them on a silver platter. And if that's you, hopefully that's a little bit of a wake-up call to be like, oh my God, truth. It is not going to happen. It's not going to come if I don't put some effort towards. And so, yeah, I think in this course, you'll be able to really understand some of the different things that you'll be able to implement in there. And this is a free course about understanding the 3 different elements that really changed my life for the last 10 years. They just impacted me so wholeheartedly and were able to make me and level up to the next level. And I think if you implement these, you will start to progress. And I know that because these are the implementations that I do with the students inside Social Life Mentoring, inside my mentorship program. And so where we go on calls and I make them understand these concepts of familiar face theory. I make them understand the concepts of, building out your funnels and understanding that, it is very similar to business. And so you can do the same. And again, this is something that we have. We have 7 courses on, we have daily calls, we have everything under the sun for this. So if you want to join, it's actually a crazy, crazy discount. I used to sell this product for $2,500 and now it is as low as $147 a month, which is insane. So, it is insane. So get in while you can and you get daily calls with me, man. And that's why the guys are just leveling up within a week. They're just crushing it. So Sam here, hope you enjoyed the free course that we were able to give you and you're able to understand how you can implement some of this stuff. You might need to watch it once or twice to be able to get all the information. I talk quick, I talk fast because I know that it's going to stick in your brain and you're going to be able to implement it and get the life you want.